morning everyone. It is not even 6 a.m. right now and we are catching sunrise with Sasha and a fifth. Today we are going to rip the good old Cine Whoop, the Protek35, and we're going to discuss why I prefer this a lot more than the DJI Avata and why I'm not going to buy that thing, because DJI is a bunch of scammers. We'll talk about that later. It is very early. We may miss the sunrise because the sunrise is getting earlier and earlier. So yeah, we have to move right now. Let's freaking go. Alright, so we have made it. We literally made it by like, I don't know, 2 seconds. And the sunrise is going off right now. It is time to rip the drone. We have the Protek35, which is honestly, in my opinion, probably the best next thing to DJI Avata. It is a bit bigger, but you need the power, you know, at least do a dive. Because what's the point of flying FPV if you can't even do a dive? Because otherwise, you just look like you're flying a Mavic real low. We'll talk about why I'm not going to buy the Avata in a second, because we need to catch the sunrise, so let's rip it. Alright, so we absolutely ripped it. I had a bit of a crash in there. It's because if you can look at these wires here, they're so thin. I can't even see them on my goggles at all. I'm using the Caddx Polar, so that's not really ideal. You probably can't even see it on the other goggles because they look like nothing. So yeah, I kind of just like rammed it in. But I think we got a pretty good shot, which is quite good. We're gonna go down there, a lot of reflective kind of like pools, get some like reflection shots or something like that, which would be pretty sick. But now, let's talk about the good old Avata. And the main reason why I'm not buying it is because two things. The first one being the fact that all this promo, all these 6 shots of the DJI Avata are filmed with the remote controller version 2, not the motion controller bullshit. It's a bit of a scam by DJI. You advertise all these cool shots and you don't even include the controller which you got these shots with, and I'm not gonna just waste money buying a motion controller and then buying another remote controller, which just adds up, and the thing's not cheap in the first place. So until we wait for stock of the drone and the controller, which might not happen in Australia for like, I don't know, next 2 months, I'm probably not going to think about buying it. A second factor there is also, I got a bit of a leak that the DJI Air unit will be available in December this year. So we can hold off purchasing until then. So if you are someone who wants to like get some better quality, wait until December. And that brings me to the last thing, is that there's no denying that the DJI Avata camera quality is worse than the GoPro. It's seen like everywhere. I'll put some links there. The dynamic range is not as good, and me as a filmmaker, it's just hard to go back in terms of image quality. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of the camera on the DJI Avata, but if you are, there's nothing wrong with that. But that's the main reasons. Let's get shooting a little bit more and see what we get. We just sent it a little bit more just along these beautiful reflective puddles, which I think turned out quite nice, and I left my battery at like 20 volts, which is a big reason why the DJI Avata is very impressive. This thing stays in the air for like 4 minutes, 4.5 maybe, with the full-size GoPro Flying 6S. Virtually in every way the DJI Avata is better, except this Protek35 can dive a little bit. It can't dive that great. It can be a bit more dynamic, move around a little bit more, but as you can see in the video, it's not very stable cine whoops. Like, I'm kind of a bit shaky. I'm not as stable as I am with the 5-inch. And on that note, here is actually a quick comparison of me flying a 5-inch versus my current flight with the Protek no stabilization. And as you can see, I'm a lot more shaky with the Protek35. I'm not sure if it's because I haven't flown it as much, but I definitely feel like either the rates are really off or just Proteks in general and cine whoops are a bit less stable than the classic 5-inch. There's also a little bit of wind to consider, and this is why I think cine whoops kind of suck in general. There was a gentle breeze, you can hear it in my audio earlier, but I was simply just trying to go for a bit of an orbit shot, but unfortunately, because of that gentle breeze, I kept getting the orbit cut into a bit of a helix, so I turned really close to my friend Sasha, which is not what I was going for, and that's just a testament of how wind affects cine whoops, which is not very good, to be honest. So in short, the Protek35 is superior in that you can put a GoPro on it, better image quality, and also it's got more power and it's supposed to be more maneuverable, but literally everything else besides that, form factor, battery life, it all goes to Avata, GPS rescue, you name it. The Avata is also quieter than the Protek35. The problem with having the 6S Protek35 is it absolutely screams. And it's to a point where it makes such a ruckus that I'm almost like insecure that so many people are hearing this, but that is one thing to keep in mind. Alright, so that about does it. The drone was sent pretty well. We basically took the battery to about 20 volts, which is all things you have to worry about if you don't fly the Avata, which is all these overhead tasks make flying FPV a little bit difficult, but it is what it is for that GoPro quality. We got a bunch of B-roll, pretty nice reflections. If you enjoyed the video, let me know how the cinematics turned out. Let me know if you're gonna buy the Avata, which, look man, until they put an RC remote in the bundle, I don't know if we can do it. Also, remember that I do have a little bit of a leak. The O3, the next level air unit, is coming out in like December, so keep that in mind. And if you're gonna start FPV, I probably wouldn't buy anything until then. Just wait till like December. Everything else is gonna get a lot cheaper. I might make a video about that in the future, but other than that, thank you for joining the adventure, a little cinematic vlog, and I'll catch you in the next one.